Hello and welcome to Paula's Run Club with me, Paula Radcliffe.
And me, Christopher Thompson, who's not touching his face this time. Sorry, guys.
And we do have an amazing guest lined up for you this week. 4 Olympic gold medals, 6 world titles, arguably one of the greatest athletes of all time. Sir Mo Farah will be joining us later on. Plus, we're going to shout out for more of your funny stories that happen while running, and that is a working title, so please feel free to get in touch with a much better one for us, the honours board, and loads more coming up. So before we do get going, we would like to thank our friends at NordVPN because they have come through with an agreement to sponsor the show, so very many thanks to them, and a reminder of what you can get with that special offer from NordVPN. Remember, it's at nordvpn/Paula's Run Club, and you get your VPN, which is your virtual private network, saves all your privacy and security on there, and you get to watch your favourite shows wherever you are. Now, we were chatting about this earlier, and Thommo, you said about how you've got really into, I've got to get it right, Destination X.
That's the one, yeah. It's trending over here, because I know you don't live in the UK, and that's where, again, I said you need to watch it, and you can use your NordVPN to watch it. But the idea of it is, just very quickly, and I won't give any spoilers because I'm watching it in phase and I'm still way behind where they're up to, but it's about a group of people traveling around Europe, and at the end of the day they're kind of blindfolded and they have to guess where they are, and whoever guesses the furthest away from where they actually are is off the bus. And it's just combines just my loves of competition and it makes you want to travel Europe, and it shows Europe in a stunning kind of light, and it's a really good show, and it's Rob Brydon, one of my favourite actors and people in the world. Just check it out, Paula. You need to watch, and anyone listening.
Well, it sounds like something I'd absolutely love to do. I mean, when we used to spend a lot of time in training camps, and particularly in the US, I got really into that race across the world, and I used to think I would love to do that. Might have ended up in divorce a couple of times, but I think it would have been a lot of fun just to get into that and just to try and travel your way around. Because I know we've talked about how you wear different hats, and you wear the bin hat. I wear the direction hat, definitely. Gary's sense of direction is rubbish, really rubbish. I mean, that one time we were driving down to the Pyrenees, and at that point it was I'd kind of read a book when we switched over driving, get my book out, look up, I'm like, why are we going the wrong direction? He had managed to get back on the motorway going back the way we'd just come.
So do you need a different co-pilot for this?
Failed at race across the world for sure, but he is pretty good with the VPNs and things. So yeah, he had sorted out that and got across all of that. So don't forget, you can register up to 10 devices at once to this. You get an extra 4 months free thrown in, and it's all got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just a reminder, one more time, it's nordvpn.com/Paula's Run Club. Please do get in touch as you are doing, because remember, this is your running club. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear your funny stories. We want to hear your shout outs for the honours board. And just once again, those ways to get in touch are Paula's Run Club at momentumbroadcast.co.uk. The WhatsApp number +44 7564 747 914. We are all over socials, Instagram, TikTok, X. That is at Paula's Run Club. And do not forget, you can watch the full podcast on YouTube as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember that we've now got the main pod drops every Monday. And on Thursday, we have the weekly shakeout where we'll answer as many of your running questions as we possibly can. Right, then, Thommo, so what have you been up to this week?
Do you know what? Can I just say you're doing such a good job with this extra camera angle. You're jostling between the two quite expertly. I don't know where to look. I feel like I've got Big Brother coming from my right. I don't know. Yeah, you're such a pro. I'm kind of like, I'm not used to this level of camera thing. Right, so what have I done this week? Anyway, so that's for the YouTube people. What have you been up to?
How is this training going? Come on.
Yeah. So what are we now? We're about 3 weeks from Great North Run, which is relevant because I'm going to be running the course and presenting and commentating with, I know you're in the studio, but I'm actually running the course, so a bit like I did earlier in the year with the Great Manchester Half. So post toe break, I'm trying to get myself fit enough to be able to run, talk, be energetic for 13 miles, which you'd think was just an everyday for me, which it was, but I'll be honest, I'm still getting into the groove post-retirement. So I managed about 20 miles last week, 25, so I need to bump it up, and I'm still 3 weeks post getting back into running. But as I said last week, longest run was 9 miles, so I'm getting there, but I need to practice running and talking, which you could probably imagine is quite difficult for me.
Really? You used to be quite good at that. I know what you can talk while you're doing is when you're getting in that ice bath. Has that been used yet?
Yeah, no, it's nicely tucked away, protected in the box, and it's nearly. Oh God, it must be.
Do you realise that in the hot weather, the actual whole family could enjoy that?
They could, and that's where I'm a terrible husband, father, and all those kind of things. I don't know.
You've just lost all the performance orientated part, haven't you? Really, basically.
Yeah, I know.
And that is the quite nice thing, though. I don't know about you, but that is quite a nice thing about transitioning to retirement. Is that your runs can become exactly what you want them to be, and there is no structure, or it doesn't have to be a structure to it. If you want to keep a structure, you can. And actually, I chatted to that about Mo quite a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, because he mentions, I think on the chat later on, about how he really needs a motivation to work towards, and he's struggling to get out and just enjoy running for running's sake. Whereas I think the more, maybe it's the longer I've been retired, the more I actually appreciate just running for running's sake, only just to feel better when I come back in from that run, and just to explore and just to connect and different things. So there's no longer a purpose training wise to each run. It's just get out and have fun.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we spoke about this. I do tend to like a purpose like a goal. Like that's where this presenting with the halves and the GNR and stuff has been a help. But at the same time, yeah, where we cross over, what I've enjoyed is the fact I usually went out the door with a particular aim or structure in mind, or I needed to get something out of that run in a physiological a physiological reason to get out the door and get that back in fitness. Now, I'm literally exploring fields. I'm not worried about the terrain, the speed I'm running across like fields with sheep in, just stopping and having a look round and enjoying my environment. And I'm really enjoying that aspect, that exactly what you talk about. I think before I retired, you mentioned how you would just literally run and you wouldn't necessarily know what direction you were going to go in or the length you were going to run. Yeah. And that's
go on autopilot. I love that run.
Love that. I just love that.
Just turn everything off and just go where your mind wants to go.
Because do you know what? And this is where I do have this mindset of, like, down, if you can find, like, there's loads of them, of footpath maps, and there's so many footpaths around the country you don't know exist. Like, we all live very near a footpath, and it's closer than you think. And when I look at it, I just try and create like a random loop around it, and you end up in like some crazy weird places just through following footpaths that sometimes go across farmers you think is out of bounds, but actually they're quite well hidden signs to sort of, but you're obviously legally allowed to walk down. And I just play around with all these different footpaths and stuff and almost get off road, because I used to do a lot of stuff on road. Now I try to get off as much as I can and it's a great
way of learning bearings, isn't it? I mean, it's one of the things I've noticed. It's funny because whenever we are away working as a BBC team, Crammy has this big thing about the runners will know where they are direction-wise, or which direction you need to head in to get back to the hotel, because we're used to doing all of those explorings. And I was taking Raf on a couple of runs around the Pyrenees, and that's what I do there, is explore a lot, just see where this trail goes. I wonder where it goes. And obviously you need to have in your head a good idea. And he did say to me at one point, Mum, why are we going this way? Because home is that way. I'm like, no, home is that way. We need to get that right. He was totally spun around by the fact that the trail had been through the trees, going out different ways, and he had no idea which direction he was going in. And I think that's probably something that you take for granted, and it develops with age and with using it.
Yeah, because you connect dots of where you live. I'm one of the, it's exactly that. It's not a case of I don't like being lost. I like to kind of almost try and get lost to get found, so I get to know something. Yeah. And so as soon as we moved to this location where we're in now, I just ran as far and as wide as I could, so that I felt within probably a 10-mile radius. I felt very comfortable with where everything was and all the mini shortcuts, just because it makes me feel like home. Like you say, when you have your bearings of your immediate place, or if you fly somewhere, go out for a run, you instantly feel more connected with wherever you are. And there's actually, it's funny, like I think there was a post from the Urban Trail Runner on social media, and you talked about New York and his book, and I did do a forward for that book, and it is literally that you just go wherever you are, you just go and explore and get to know the area, and lots of fun stories within the book.
Yeah, just to clarify, that was a great tip that came in from the Urban Trail Runner, so thank you for that. I think it came in on Instagram, didn't it? And he was basically letting us know that yes, the hills in Central Park are the ones that you need to keep in mind, keep a little bit of energy left in the tub for as you come into Central Park, because they are a sting in the tail, and they are great, they're a lot of fun, but you need to have some energy left for them. So thanks for that tip, and hope everybody's prep going towards New York is going well. I think actually this week with Mo, there is some real tidbits there in terms of mental strength and how important that psychological side of keeping your mind as ready for the marathon, embracing the challenge and respecting it as much as the physical side.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly, and this is going to be poor editing, just quickly give a shout out to Javelin, because the book is here. For those watching on YouTube, that was the guy.
Oh, there's his name. Didn't even know his name.
Well, yeah, because he puts himself. But I did the forward on it, and sorry, I thought I'd just quickly give him a fair play, mainly because I'm on the back with a little message as well.
And the other thing that we need to do with the marathon shout out, of course, is wish everybody the very best of luck for Sydney Marathon, which is coming up. I saw Dina Caster's running it. We know, of course, Sifan Hassan's running it. Eliud Kipchoge is. So it's going to be a great first. It is the first one, isn't it? The first of the majors for Sydney. First time
joining in. Yes.
So it is the inaugural one. So you're all getting chance to take part in a very special one. And I think that means that those people who have done 6, that will be officially the 7. They have let some people count as having done 7 if they'd done Sydney before they joined, but actually this will be the first official 7. So I wonder if they'll have a special medal come out.
I wonder who's in it. There'll be. I wonder how many people in the race are going to have done the 6 previously, so therefore they become the exclusive 7 club. Yeah. I wonder how many. But
I think there will be a fair number.
It's annoying because now that aim to get that kind of medal is now just increased. But like someone else on this, you're gonna have to do it.
Right,
next
I got
year.
6. I'm done.
Okay,
6 and out.
But Mo did talk a lot. What I loved about Mo's interview was the fact the refreshing honesty around the challenges of the marathon and how the difficulty that he found with it, and extrapolating out the kind of the track mindset into the marathon is not just a given. It is a very different skill. It does come with a different set of challenges, and it you think, oh, it makes sense, but I think sometimes we can fall into the trap that running is just running, and it is. But the beauty of running is it is very layered, and a 100-meter runner is very different to a 1500-meter runner. Is very different to a marathon runner, and they're all almost sports in their own right. And I think he did a really good job of explaining what he tried to do, how he tried to kind of meet the challenge of the marathon, and accept that maybe, and this in no way negative, he was a track runner. He was that was his forte, like your forte was the marathon, and he did the best he could. He's a British record holder, ran 2:05, did incredibly well, won Chicago Marathon, did incredible things. But the difficulty of marathons is, athletes are almost breaking 2. They're running 2:01, and that must have been strange for him to get used to. Hang on, I'm not battling in a sprint finish to be the best in the world. It's like, wow, this is a different world.
And keeping concentrated. But I think the other thing that was really impressive that he hid really well throughout his career is when we talked to him about just how much he actually knew about the rest of the field and how in control he was when he was winning all of those back-to-back Olympic titles and world titles. And I think that will probably surprise a lot of people because his outward persona is very much happy-go-lucky, jokey. Mo turns up, having fun with it, and he still was absolutely having fun with it. But I think he let slip, didn't he, how much research he'd actually done and how much he knew about his rivals and that they were watching him, and the whole strategy put in place over that 5k 10k distance, which I think is really refreshing, that it just didn't come like totally easy to him. He did put some work into that, and he was really in control of it.
Well, I think if we're being brutally honest, with elite athletes, is that kind of line of I just work hard is a kind of a given towards an elite athlete. If we all work hard, but there's something extra that separates us, and that's where with Mo again, he peeled back a little bit more about his preparation, which is, again, the preparation is massive. And even I didn't realise just how much research he did around his athletes and their strength and weaknesses. And he mentioned Javelin and not realising who he was or how good he was. And
that was the key moment, wasn't it? He talks about Javelin, and he didn't know who this guy was, but everybody else in the race, and he lists them. He knew what they were coming with, what their strength was, when they were likely to kick, and just shows you that it looks flawless and it looks spontaneous in the race, and it looks like, what are they doing at the back? Don't tell me that's the bin lorry. Are we going to do a weekly shout out?
No, I don't have to run to go. The bin is out. Don't worry. The bin is out.
Okay, everybody relax. Everybody relax. If you have forgotten your, is it green bin or blue bin today?
It's blue bin today.
Blue bin. If you have forgotten your bin, it's time to go out and pause the podcast, go out and do that.
The glass is gone, and now it's going to the...
if we did remind anybody last week about their bin, please do let us know, because that would make Thommo's day, that he actually did a community service favour. So anybody who did forget and thought, oh God, Thommo's just reminded me, let us know that, please.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? It's like if the bin's forgotten to be put out, the buck stops with me. It's just my job. And you know what? I take it seriously, because so far I can only think of one occasion which I forgot. And there was this moment where the lorry went past the house, and I just looked at him, and the driver just looked at me, and we just sort of looked at each other. He knew I'd messed up. I knew I'd messed up. And it was just like
outside.
And I was sat in my living room, because he just went past the window, and it was almost like he smiled, going, "I'm not stopping." And I just sort of like, "Yeah, you're right. I messed up. I'll see you next week."
That reminds me of the school bus that used to take off when you were like 10 meters from the school, and it just used to keep driving away, and you'd like, I'm coming to get on that bus, just do me a favor and let me on the bus.
Well, it's like the harsh lessons in life you have to learn, It's like, if you get away with it, you think next time he'll let me off next time. No, you turn up, get the bin out, turn up to the bus stop on time. Turn up to that's a great. Have you ever been late for a race? Have you ever missed a start? Or been late?
Haven't. No, I don't think I have. I told you, I think I've told the time on the podcast before where I nearly missed the start on my leg of the relay because somebody had locked me in the toilet.
Yes, you did, yes.
So I told that one. But I think that's the only time. I think there have been a couple of times where it's taken a very, very long time to get to the track and to the stadium, because buses have got stuck and traffic and things along the way. Notably in Berlin, it used to take an absolute age to get out to the old Olympic Stadium in Berlin, and you'd be sat on that bus forever. But we did actually usually make it in time. I don't think there's any that have missed it.
Yeah, I don't think I've missed. I know I've had the one occasion that springs to mind was we were driving to Watford for a BMC race, and I must have been 16, I think, at the time, because I was running a steeplechase, and we got stuck on traffic on the M25. So anyone that's listening remembers traffic on the roads has always existed. It's always been a pain, especially on the M25. And I accepted, I think I just assumed I wasn't going to make it. So in my head, I thought, it's gone. But we managed right at the end to arrive literally I think I had 2 or 3 minutes before the start line. My coach had already signed me in. And I literally went from the car, ran, put the vest on, put the number on, and just ran without any warm-up over steeplechase barriers. I did win the race.
Oh, there you go.
And I still to this don't know how the heck I didn't tear something. If I did that now, if I got out the door right now, I drove for 2 hours, the things you could get away with, but that's the closest I think I can think of I've been to missing a race.
Yeah.
But the adrenaline, if I was now, I'd have got out and gone, it's gone, leave it. But there as a kid, you go, let's go, let's see what happens.
Everything. I mean, the one time I can remember, but this was not close to the race, but we were stuck on the M25 again, going out to fly out to Sydney for the holding camp. And so my dad was driving us to the airport, and it was just gridlocked on the M25, and there was not a chance that we were making that flight. And I have to say, big shout out to my dad, biggest supporter all the way through my career, put his hazards on and went down I know he shouldn't have done, went down the hard shoulder and got us onto that flight. And that was the only way that we were going to make it. And he was like, I know I'm going to get fined. I know I'm going to have to pay for this, but you need to get on that flight to Sydney. So he did that for me.
Oh, bless him. What a legend he is. Like, he took one for the team. And then how'd you get on at Sydney again?
4th. That was a shame, wasn't it?
You should have done the inside
There
lane.
is the time.
In the
No,
race,
the other time that my dad really came in was when I was leading the World Cross, and I know we are a bit over time on this chat, but really quickly, I was leading the World Cross in '97, and at that point I'd won the juniors. I think I'd finished 18th or 19th a couple of times in the World Cross, but I'd not really done much in the senior race. The first time properly away to altitude training to prep for the race, and coming to Turin, and I'm leading Dorata Tulu in the race, and a pigeon crapped on my dad's head. And what did he do? He moved position, and then it did it again, and I came second. She caught me on the line. I said, Dad, if you just stayed where you were for the first time, the one might have been a signal.
Oh, wow.
It might have been good luck. No, he cleaned it off his head, moved, and then did it a second time.
I wonder if it was the same bird, whether he just was playing like, I don't know, some kind of like game where he's like trying to move when your dad moved, or whether it was or whether it was like there was a few birds wherever he moved, he was just going to correct on a different bird. Bless him. Yeah. Right.
There are funny ones.
Yeah. Well, right. So please let us know.
There's
for a name, a funny story, and we will keep drip feeding ones from ourselves. And yeah.
And do remember, send them into that email address and to that WhatsApp number as well, +44 7564 747 914. And now we are going to move on into this interview, and it is a great interview. We have a very special one with one of the greatest athletes of all time, Sir Mo Farah, and we're very pleased to say that he's going to share lots of insight into his career, into track running, into the transition to marathon running, into what he's doing now, and how the most important thing is to keep on loving your running. It is a massive big honour to welcome a real true legend of everything running, basically. Certainly quadruple Olympic champion on the track, British record holder in so many distances I've lost count, but certainly in the marathon and the 10,000 metres, 5,000 metres in that. No, actually not the 5,000 metres anymore, is it? Is that right? No, it's not. It's not anymore. So we'll have to touch on
don't be
that one
Paula,
a
don't be
late.
harsh.
I know.
Don't say he's a British record and then say, these what you haven't got now.
No, but I was going to say pretty much every record at a certain point from 1,500 metres up to the marathon was held by the legend that is Mo Farah. And Mo, thank you for joining us here just to honestly just chat and share a little bit of your infectious love of running, everything that you've learned about it with our listeners. Our listeners, I guess, like we do, just want to hear a few of the things that make you tick and that still make you tick now as you move into retirement. But as I know, it's still very heavily involved in the sport.
Yeah, honestly, as I said, it's been an amazing career. Honestly, as a young boy, thinking I would be able to achieve all this amazing thing. I've never even thought about it. But at time, it's all learning. And I remember, as a little boy being excited, being part of the Great Britain team with yourself, Paula, and as one of a role model growing up, and same team as Thommo and cross countries. And, that was our journey. But then, you accomplish so much along that long career I've had. And most thing I just remember is enjoying, having fun and learning. And,
That's the thing with you, Mo, because obviously our paths were more than intertwined when we were kids. And I always had this thing in the back of my head, when he realises how good he is, we're all in trouble. Because you had this infectious desire to just enjoy yourself. And one of my fondest stories of you of, wow, this kid's going places. There was a race in Windsor, if you remember it.
Yeah.
800 metres, and Alan Story, who we've had on a previous pod, just go and run a 800. And I think it was Neil Spate was there, or Anthony Whiteman. You said, how do I run this race? And they said, just go to the front and just keep running hard till you hit the finish, roughly speaking, as I remember it. And you went out, you went a 54 first lap, 54 second lap, and no one could hang with you. And it was a senior men's race. It was 2003, so you were just a kid. And you ran 1:48 just like that on an afternoon in Windsor and Eton, and you were, 20 years old, and everyone just stopped and went, how did you just do that? And it was just this, we knew we were watching someone that was going to go places, but to you just finished like it was another day. But you must have things like that and thought, wow, that wasn't special. Or were you just too busy having fun?
honestly, as I said, it's still my personal best. I've never broken it.
Yeah, I know. I did check that. It's still your PB.
That's great.
Yeah, but honestly, as I said, like it was one of the things, I turned up in races where you just, it was a race. It was never about anything else other than, it's a race and what am I going to do? And I wasn't afraid to ask questions. I wasn't afraid to talk to people. And often, I've nenever done this before. It's like, how do you run it? And they were like, when they give you that advice and you take it in, and then you just go and do it. And I think often, even with my own kids now, and having a conversation with them, this is how you do it. And there's so much complication, so many things where they just overthink it with everything. And sometimes I said, we all just need to be ourselves and just say, well, okay, go and do it. What do you learn? It didn't go great. Didn't do as well as I wanted. Then you go back and then you fix things and you just enjoy it. But I think it's so much more harder for younger generation, but for all people, because I think often with social media, with so much thing around them, it's almost like being afraid for ourselves. As I said, we tried things, crazy things, and we learned it. We're like, oh, that's not good. Don't do that. And then, with training, with everything.
But that's the part, isn't it? Sorry, I was just going to say, I think that's the part about you, Mo, that really makes you and made you as successful as you are in running. But in life in general, you don't overthink it. You just give it your best shot. I was telling an example the other day to you, Thommo, when we went, Mo and I took his kids down to the lake. And there is no way really that Mo now should be able to balance along this rotating inflatable tube on the lake and be able to get across it. But he just kept going and kept going. I'll give it another go. I just need to not think about it. I just need to do it. And every time he's just going flying in the lake. But that is, I think, what made you as successful as you were and what other people couldn't counter. And I think that's the point I kind of want to try and get to you. And I don't know if we will be able to, because I don't know if you know how you did it. But when you were in like your purple patch on the track and you were winning double, quadruple Olympic titles, it was like a control over the rest of the field because everybody was just watching you to see what you were doing. And you genuinely, from the outside, it looked as though you were just having fun and just trying different things within the race. And it really, I can imagine for competitors, it was extremely hard to counteract because no one knew what you were going to do next, because often you didn't know what you were going to do next either. Is that right?
Yeah. But as I said, I think for me it was almost going through stages. So you go through the first stage where, as a young boy, you run for, you want to run for England. And then once you run for England, you go Great Britain and you go through, and then you go through the ranks, European under 20, under 23. But always, the question was like, as a junior, you're good, but can you make it through the senior? Now, I think for me, instead of jumping into straight to senior, I did struggle a bit. And it took me time to be able to, to get going. But once you get going, and then you just learning and taking it in. But for me, races, as I said, like often I'll just put myself in the best positions I can. But often, so many people watch me throughout the years. They go, "Oh, he's going to kick last lap." Well, but where did that come from? It comes from preparation, training, confidence, and ability to be able to do in races. And once you do in the races, then you go next race. But for me, as I said, biggest breakthrough throughout my career was probably that one race where I remember Prefontaine, where I ran the 10,000 meters. I was out in training, was in decent shape, didn't even know what I was capable. I was like, yeah, I want to do good. I feel like I'm in good shape, and took control of the race, and 5 laps to go, and just went through, controlled it, went through and run 12:46. And then I remember looking across, going, God, that felt good. Who did I beat? I beat all these guys, Ethiopian, Kenyans. And in that moment, I think that was the moment that I felt like, this is me.
Well, it's funny, Mo, because we ran the day after that race, if you remember, around Prees Trail.
Yeah.
I bumped into you and you had this, and I was talking to you about it. And I said, in my head, I was thinking, I've been waiting to see that.
Yeah.
And I said to you, like, did you know that was in you? Because for me, for so long, it was just a matter of time. But you almost kind of, you're right, there felt like something in you, a light bulb had gone off of, you could see what all of us could see. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to like go back to something that you touched upon about learnings and stuff. to extend to that, because after that point you still went to the World Champs 10k and you finished second to Javelin. And I think that was the icing on the cake, because the number of times I went to championships with you, 2006 Jesus, you took off too early and he caught you right at the death. Cascado at the European 10th Europa Cup 3k, you ran the last lap in like sub 50, but you took off with 500 to go with a 49 last lap, and he pipped you, because obviously in a Europa Cup athletes step up in distance. But there were so many moments you walked away like this bridesmaid, you were second, someone, and it always came down for me, it felt like you just lacked that little bit of confidence in what you could do. And that like you say, proved you physically were good enough. Then Javelin, you did the same thing. I think you took off with 600 to go, and I was kind of commentating on it, and I thought, what are you doing? And as soon as you finished, I said, on the radio, I said, that will be the making of him. He will not lose that 5. I didn't think the next 6 years he'd go unbeaten, but I thought that's the icing. That is the last piece of the puzzle for him to go, I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, honestly, as I said, because that was my first proper World Championship, and I was favourite to go out there and win it. You know, the times I was running and was winning races, the Diamond League and stuff. But in that race, often, as you said, as an athlete, all of us, we have to know our competitors. We have to know what they're good at, what they're so good at, study them, see how you can beat them. They come up tactics that beats everyone. That's how you win the race. I personally think in that race, tactically, I got it wrong. I went too early, where you often go, you know, if I would have gone 400 minutes to go, still would have won the race. But that 500, 600, it was just a little bit too much. And at that moment, I felt like keep going and went too hard. That gap, when I look back in the race, I go, how did he close that gap? How? I couldn't close that gap. But it just did. And I was like, you know, slowing down a bit. And then towards the last 100 meters, as we all do, in that moment when somebody's there, not supposed to be here, you start to panic. So you give it all, but you don't. You just like, you tense, and they go through, and then I just remember him come past me, and I go, oh, okay, he's holding my head and going, okay. But I think it was one of the best things that could happen throughout my career, because he taught me a lot of things that, you know, coming to London and a year later in London 2012, that things that you have to deal with, things that you have to overcome, and
another thing I thought was really interesting in your early days, when you started winning regularly in 2012, I was commentating. I did the 10k with you, which was nice of you to lap me. Thank you for that. Cheers. You had to wait a little bit longer for that hug, because like you finished, celebrated, I then did my lap, and then we had a bit of a hug. But yeah, I got there in the end.
I'm back from injury.
Yeah, but you know, I was, but that's by the by. I didn't. It's one of those things, you just don't hold it. You don't look for excuses, did you? I should have done better with myself. But anyway, and you did the 10, you won it. And obviously at that point, you'd never won the double. You'd obviously silver and gold the year before. And I passed you on the bridge and I said to you, Mo, I'm commentating for your 5K. Anything that you want to give me for gold for the commentator? And he said, to be honest with you, mate, I'm just really knackered. I'm just exhausted. And I'm just a bit worried that the guys are just going to push the pace. And I came away from it, thought, okay, that surprised me. And little did I realise that actually you were kind of, when I spoke to you in hindsight, you actually were just, even with me building this aura of, you wanted athletes to think you were tired. You wanted them to run away from you, because what in reality, you knew how fit you were, and you knew the faster they tried to break you, the more it played into your hands. So if they thought you were tired, they were going to push the pace, which they did try to do to you. And it was so clever that you stayed in this kind of, even though you're relaxed, you're fun-loving and all that, by that point, you had a narrative of your head and such a control, whether you were racing or in between. You had this calmness about, even though your bedroom's an absolute tip, and it still is probably, but in your racing mind and your racing. Track. Exactly. But that was one of the things I kind of thought, wow, this guy really is in control of what he's doing. And that was the bit I wanted to ask you, is like, did you feel that level of control from that 2012 and that you almost felt in control of all the different things?
What you're asking, isn't it, Thommo, is what was the difference in your head, because
Yeah.
there was definitely a difference in you that year, and probably throughout that year was maybe the turning point where you kind of grew, and you had to adapt to a lot of things. I mean, a lot of changes in your personal life. You couldn't just walk around anymore. A lot of things changed for you, but I think psychologically, and what Thommo is trying to get at, is you as a runner took a step up there that very few people ever get to take up, and it's probably hard for you to find what that was and express it in words, but there was like an aura in you and a belief.
Yeah, honestly, as I said, like with everything I just said, I always do. I remember having a conversation with my daughter the other day. I said she's running around a lot and stuff, slightly changed the subject, but I said to her, as long as you try your best, you give it 110%, that's all I care. And often throughout whatever I did, I always just try to give 110%, whatever I do, whether I fail, whether I win, and everything else. But then over time, as I said, throughout races, you learn things that you can do. And often when you win races and you won this race, you beat so and so, people then start to believe that you're that good. And you've got to believe in yourself, obviously. But at the same time, you kind of build that, that more of like a respect. And throughout the races, after 2012, 2013, throughout, the guys had a lot of respect for me on the track. And
did you have a huge inner belief that you could go to a darker place in yourself as well? Was there a bit of a combination of I know how much I can take this to the well?
Yeah, honestly, as I said, I've always pushed myself. There's times where in training where you cramp. I remember Gary going in and it's like passing you food and you can't eat anything, and that's what I took, even just to prove a point to myself. Often I'll turn out the track. I remember Neil coming up one point, watching
Neil Black,
yeah.
Bless him.
I'm watching me train, and I said to him, I didn't have a good race, I think 2 weeks before or something, and then went up to training camp. And in that training camp, I did the long run. I was just pushing. And I was like, is that good? Is that good? And I was just kind of asking him reassurance that what I'm doing, no one's doing training. No one's pushing this hard. And for me, that's what gave me the confidence and ability to go, you know what, I'm pushing training. I've done this lap in training, the 400 you saw me at the end, the race is placing 40 was a 51:52. For me, that was after lots of intervals, I could run that on the back of it. And it's being able to teach your body to do that. But then in training, is that confidence and everything I did. If I could do it in training, I could do a competition, because often I talk about it and I go, the racing part was the easy part for me.
Yeah, the fun part.
Because if I could do 120 miles week in, week out, 3 gym sessions, the intervals, everything out, the diet, looking after your body, sleeping, if I can handle all that and my body can handle, just put me on the track. I've eased down already. I'm doing 70 miles that week. 60 miles.
Were you in Zurich? Again, I'm just full of stories. I could do 3, 4, or 2 days of stories, and I won't because I'm conscious for the audience that try and keep it on point as much as I can. But when we're talking about you going to the well, and both you and Paula had this incredible ability to take yourself to such a clear space in your mind to allow your body to take every last bit of energy and forward motion out of yourself. But in Zurich in 2010, you just won the double. Yeah. We both medalled. Give myself a pat on the back. But you double victory in the 5 and the 10. We went to Zurich and you broke the British record, ran sub 13 for the first time. I think it was 12:56, and obviously I came in 13:20. You didn't lap me that time, but obviously I took a bit of time to finish and then come and see you. And you were just on the side of the track, just like spaced out, just waving. And then you started to throw up, and I quickly grabbed the towel, and you were just throwing up, and I was catching all this sick. And you were just completely exhausted. And this woman, this media lady, came over and goes, "Can Mo do an interview quickly, please?" And I just looked at her, looked at you, looked at the sick, and went, "What do you think? Do you want to give him a minute?" I think. And then I had to like after you sort of came round, I sort of juggled this sick in this towel to the bin to put it in. And I was like, I thought like I finished. I thought I'd train. I thought I'd race hard, but I still wasn't as tired as you, obviously, that I could do this. And I thought that's the difference. You just would go to such a dark place to do that, to just put everything on that finish line. And I think that was something that you stood out for you. And you're saying training did a lot of that for you, that belief.
Yeah, training did a lot of that. And I look back now and have a conversation and stuff. And obviously, I did my documentary about the real Mo Farah, shared my story. And often I go, all these things I could do, and find out, is that anything to do with, my upbringing, the way I had quite a difficult upbringing as myself when I was young, and obviously, talked about my story, how I was child trafficked into the UK and gone through what I've gone through. Did that make me that bit more where you can go places that most people can't go? I don't know. I often go, I want that if it's like, your upbringing or things that you did.
I feel like it's a combination, because it's a combination of all of it, isn't it? Because you're such a kid at heart, which you need that. It's like I always say to people when I talk to kids, they say, oh, what's the advice? And I actually turn around and say, I need to be a bit more like a kid. Yeah. I need to be more like you, just have no baggage in my mind and run free. It's like a combination, I feel like.
Yeah. But if you contrast yourself, Mo, with you, we were talking about this the other day with your twin. Yeah. And you were saying that very often you'll have exactly the same mannerisms and you'll kind of say the same things. But does he have that ability to push himself?
No.
Or has he just never tried?
No, he can push himself, and he was so more talented than me, and he could do he actually frustrated me, even at school.
That scares me, a more talented twin than you.
This is it.
More naturally talented.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
The world is very grateful then he didn't run.
But he was very distracted, and easily distracted. He could just get lost in a moment and make friends and just do. He would just have no control. And often I think if he hang out with the wrong people, he would just get lost in whatever he did, and he wouldn't even think about.
Hey, what worse than you?
Worse than me.
You get that brings us to marathon then. How that?
Yeah, that does bring us onto the marathon.
Oh, go on, Paula. I
was just going to say, because you say you can get distracted, and I guess in honesty, as a junior, that did happen to you. You could kind of drift off in a race and just lose a bit of concentration, and maybe more often in training camps, and just forget that you were meant to be racing the next day and what you went out and did. But you kind of really controlled that on the track. And it is something that's really, really important when you move to the marathon, is just staying focused for that length of time. Is that one of the things that you found hardest about moving to the marathon?
Full stop. Anyone who's doing a marathon or done a marathon, Paula makes it look so easy for what you do. But honestly, I can talk about it now as a retired athlete, done on the sideline here. And often I go back and go, I honestly been open about it, and I struggled in the marathon. I struggled. It was hard for me, really hard. I honestly thought, I'll come back from the track. Don't want to run around track anymore, because it just felt like, I wasn't motivated enough anymore. You've accomplished, the World Olympics, you've done that. And I wanted to start a new chapter of my life where I can go to the marathon and start something new. And obviously Gary coaching me, and we really enjoyed it. But in the marathon, I struggled. I just couldn't get my head around it. I could do the half marathon, river half marathon, but to go to that distance and do training and compete, wait for 6 months, go again. It was just.
Was it the training bit, or was it the long runs?
The training I could do and everything, and the long run probably didn't enjoy as much, because once I went over 20 miles, I did struggle a little bit, and I was hurting a bit.
That's good to know that Mo Farah hurts a bit. I'm sure the audience will be over the moon.
I remember out in Kenya when I was with you and you were preparing for your first marathon, one of your first long runs. And then I remember you got into the matatu afterwards, the little taxi van, to go back to the training camp. And you were in a really, really bad way. And I know you were talking earlier about Gary tries to get food down you. And I think it was one of the things that you found, probably because you are so slight and you've got so few actual stores there to get you through it, but it was one of the things that you found hardest to adapt to. But I like the way that you say that you struggle, yet you still sought out how to make yourself better. You stuck with it. You didn't just walk away from it and go, okay, the marathon's not for me. I'm so many times Olympic champion, world champion on the track. I don't really need the marathon. There was still something in you that wanted to see how good you could be at the marathon. And you persevered with that. I mean, you went out and saw a coach that worked with you. You changed things. You kept persevering. It didn't go right the first couple of times in racing, and then you got it right. So you did stick with it.
You have to stick with it. And I think for all of us who's listening, it's really important for everyone. You're not always going to get it right, but as long as you stick with it, and you're learning, and that's what always I did in terms of I wasn't afraid to say, listen, it's not working on what I'm not working out, and I'm working away from it. But it's that drive in myself that you always have, and know what, I can learn. I'm just going to keep going, and then to a point you're like, this is not it. But then you give yourself that chance, and said, like, it's been amazing. I've learned a lot, but also it's been able to understand your body, and often for me, it was made it more harder, because when you're racing on a 5k 10k, you go into 10k, you learn, and you roughly know what kind of shape you're in, and you do the race, and then you go back, you take the notes, you go back to the coach, and in your head you know what went wrong and what you could improve. And then you have a conversation with the coach, and the coach says to you, okay, and then if you agree, then you plan on changing little things, and you get stronger and you improve. But in the marathon,
I think that is the point, isn't it? It's like when you're racing on the track, your strength of mind, I don't think, like, you came across as like this joker who was having fun out there racing, but you actually did. You've just alluded to there. You put a lot of thought into it. You were extremely strong mentally. You were going into that race. You knew what each of your competitors, your mate, you knew who they were, what they had in their arsenal, what they could try and bring to you, how they were going to try and hurt you. You could map all of that out, and you can do that with all the different ways that can happen in a 5k and in a 10k. But you're right, in the marathon, there's no way you can do that the entire way through a marathon. So did you have to work on adapting your mind in terms of turning off little bits?
You stride, yeah.
So in my mind, I was just like, don't make it come in, and I struggled to take drinks as well. We all saw it. And take the fluid in. It was hard for me till I found that right thing works for me. It was very difficult. And at that point, I would get stitched, would go through, and I didn't want to take drink. And Gary was like, take it. And I don't need it. But you do need it at some point when you go, past that 14 miles. That's when it starts kicking in, because your body is eating itself, and it's nothing left. But you learn along. But for me, mentally, was just to be focused that long, and to be just patient and hold and not get excited. It was difficult. I find it really hard. And then as soon as you go past 20, everything just gets, you almost like slow down, don't you? And his body just slows.
Well, you actually do. That's the point. That's the point.
But it becomes mind over matter in the second part, or certainly from 20 miles on, doesn't it? And it really, you have to have that belief. And I think deep down, if you're doubting it, if you're struggling with certain things, it makes it even harder to be able to push on through that. And you're right. I remember, now you mention it, thinking about, you had to work really hard to be able to drink, because you don't drink normally. Like, you're not someone who hydrates really regularly through the day. You can get away with that for shorter races.
Now and then he would be like, you drink enough? No, I just don't. It's weird to say. Wouldn't drink so much, would I?
Well, but let me remind you of this as well, Mo. Again, you triggered my story again from Houston in 2006.
Yeah.
And I can't remember why. I think I didn't have a good drink on me. I can't remember what the reason was, but you were sat there with a drink, and I said, "Oh, Mo, could I have a little bit? I've forgotten a bottle, or I didn't have anything on it." And you were like, "Yeah, it's quite sweet though. I make my drinks quite sweet." I took one little sip, and it was like drinking straight cordial. I was like, "God, jeez, this thing was like so powerful." And I was like, "How could you drink?" And you drank a good 500 mils of this sugar drink, and I just thought, "Crikey, you're going to dip. You're going to get to like 3 laps of this 5k and just lie on the floor with a sugar coma." And you did. Yeah, I think you ran like 13:10. But that surprises me, because I didn't know you struggled with drinks, because I did think that you'd have been better with it, because you seem to be able to handle quite sugary, syrupy drinks. But was the issue more the volume than it was necessarily the texture? What was it about that you struggled?
Yeah, early on, I think as a marathon, I remember even getting advice from Paula, what drinks you taking, because I think everybody reacts different to all kind of drinks. There's a lot of drinks out there, and everybody react different. And for me, every drink I took, it didn't go well with my stomach, whatever I took, till I find that right drink. Where it was later on down the line, obviously, with no, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but Morton, with how it operate with your stomach. And it's a marathon, or the marathon drink now with Morton, but it's the way it's how it affects your body, and you need something that slow release energy rather than where you take it a drink and you just straight away, you get a cramp or you get a stitch. And often that's how often I end up, and then when I did find it, then it's just holding on to it and try and use it.
It is about training your stomach as well to take on the fluids. And Mo's absolutely right. Try as many as you can. Try all the different gels, because a lot of people don't get on with every single one. A lot of people have to try lots of different ones to find the one that they do and then persevere with it. I mean, Ailish McColgan's another case in point. She finds it really hard to get that drink in while you're running, because what you drink sitting on the couch or before you go out to warm up and to race on the track is very different to what you would be able to take in and absorb while you're actually running the marathon. And I think that's what Mo's talking about with that. So what we want to do, Mo, is really talk about, we've talked a lot, and I think it's really come across how passionate you are about running. You are officially retired now. You don't look any different. Gary was saying the other day that you go into the gym and you can pretty much do the same stuff in the gym that you could. But I noticed you're not quite doing as many laps on the track with the boys as you used to. But you're definitely still involved in it. You've just started the new venture with Adam Clark and Charlotte Purdue, the You Run app. So you are staying involved with the sport.
No, honestly, I love the sport, Paula. As I said, the sports taught us so many things, values, and things that we take for granted. And as I said, often I remember me as a young boy getting excited by you, and we all sit in this place, and between us we accomplish so much. But it's so important to be able to give back to younger generation for motivating people, because there's so many people out there who runs, and for me, as I said, with all my kids, everyone. We never stop moving. I want my kids to be active, strong, and go out there and keep trying many things. But also, I love hang around the boys and just have a laugh and not make it complicated. And I think we get in there. Gary's onto a good thing. Like we're now got decent athletes in the group. But when I do come to front remote here, I do just mix in and just have a laugh and go down the track. And I do love the sports as well as just co-founder of You Run running app. And this running app, hopefully it's be able to create everything, that all the skills that I've learned in this app, and help people to get through it, because often if you want to go and do a race, if you want to go and do a run, you're not sure what to do, or if you're training for a marathon, there's no such thing as a program tailored to that person. And this app is really just guide people and build a community, build a running, and share our stories and make it fun and enjoyable, because if you're not enjoying it and it's not fun, it's hard to get the best out of yourself.
Really cool you're doing that. And I was going to say, one of my questions, and I think tips to the people listening, is if you're going to start out, what would be your kind of 1, 2 or 3 things that you would say, I would definitely start from here?
I think as I said, because we're elite and we've been there, we have different mindset for anyone who's starting running. I would say to yourself, set yourself a goal, whatever that goal is. It could be, I just want to compete half marathon or a marathon or a time, or I just want to get around it, walking, whatever it is. Once you have that goal, then it's easier to train and to motivate yourself, but really just build on it. And by means just being able to do more and more, the easier it gets, but also just finding, enjoy it. As often they say, I want to compete in marathon, but I can't. Okay. Why don't you start with a 10K? Why don't you start with 5K? Why don't you go into the park run? Why don't you do something? And then once you build a bit more training, you can enjoy running, but no one enjoys the sake of just starting a run and just go out there and run. You got to run for something, whether it's like mental health, whether you want to look good, whether you want to just, compete, whatever it is. And I said once, even for myself now, Gary would be like, "Do you be training much?" I was like, "No, what for? No, but if I have a goal and we're competing for charity, we're doing something, then yeah, I'll be training and I'm up for it and I'm challenging myself, and because that is the goal. And I think for all the people out there.
Well,
so just touching on that. But then, sorry, Tom, I just got one more question leading on from that. So they were your tips to other runners out there. As a parent, because I have seen you running and you do run with your kids. As a parent, what is the biggest trick to keeping your kids physically active? I mean, you've got 4. Rihanna isn't out here in the Pyrenees with the other 3, but Aisha, Imani and Hussein are. And they're all active, but in different ways. And I have to say, you are doing a brilliant job, because you are great at encouraging all of them to get involved in their own individual directions that they want to go in. And so what's your best advice there that you can give to parents?
I think for all the parents out there, as I said, let the kids be kids, let them enjoy, but also we have to be responsible, because kids don't know any better than, well, we know better than they do, but often they'll think, oh, I know that, I can do this. But it's almost like being open to it. But as a parent, all I try and do is support them, but also encourage them, but also have a good, healthy lifestyle. Be active. I don't want them to become like me and Olympic champion. If they want me to support them, I'll carry on supporting them when it comes to that stage. But early on now, just enjoy it, go out for runs. But also in our household, we do like to compete one another against each other.
No.
Aisha would
shocks me, Mo.
Oh, I can do that. Jumping and he's hitting the bar and he's going, oh, I can do it.
Yeah. Do you know what, Mo? That's one of my endearing things about you, is the fact that I have a couple of friends, and you're one of them. The other one is Ben Bruce, if he's listening.
Yeah.
Can just do the most weirdest of things, like, can I throw this Coke can across the room and just hit a very small bin? It's like you're someone who can just suddenly do something. But one of the other tips I thought you gave earlier on that I think was a really good one was ask questions. Mm-hmm. Like just seek people who can help you with what you're trying to do. Ask questions. Don't be frightened to ask anything. I thought that was a good one.
No, but Thommo, for all of us, I said it. Even I was talking to someone one of the athletes yesterday on the track, and he's like, I'm not sure about coach and stuff. And I said to him, go out there, just ask them. If it's a sprint coach, go and ask them, why are they doing this? How is that? Or if it's endurance, if it's someone, don't be afraid. But when you don't ask questions, you almost like you're hiding away, and you can't do that. And I think often it might sometimes think, oh, he's a bit annoying. Why is he asking questions? I just want to know, because I see you as like you're doing something that I've not seen. How do you do that? What do you do? And I think if you have that mindset, we can learn so much. I don't think I know everything, but I always listen and go, what can I learn? And like the other day, we're looking at a picture, and Paula goes, oh, he's holding his left thumb up. And I
oh, no, yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, we were talking about twins, and it was your father-in-law, and he showed me a picture of his twins, and they're his other twin grandsons, so not in most family. And he said he can't tell them apart because they're fully identical twins. And I said, but one's left-handed, one's right-handed. And Mo's like, how can you tell that? And I said, well, because one's holding his left thumb up and the other one's holding his right thumb up.
Well, whoever's listening, do you think you know that?
I don't know. No, but I think that is like, but he just straight away asked the question, which is completely natural. If you don't know something, you just ask it. And you've absolutely touched on something, because I remember you both as juniors, and I actually vividly remember, I can't remember where it was a World Cross Country somewhere, and Mo would not stop asking Crammy and Brendan questions. And he was just asking and asking and asking. And that's the way that you learn things, isn't it? And if anybody's watched the Daley Thompson documentary, I think that's one of the funniest things, when he's pestering Bruce Jenner. And asking him questions and just trying to learn, because it is the best thing, as you said, Thommo. The biggest bit of advice is, if you don't know something, just ask something. And on that, listener interaction is still open always. You can always send in those questions to
very
Paula's
good,
Run
Paula.
Club
That you are slick.
adventurebroadcast.co.uk.
You are slick.
But no,
there
we're not going to get into those now, but thank you. Honestly, Mo, we have taken up loads of your time here, but really, really appreciate it. We could keep talking forever, couldn't we, Thommo? Go on, I know you've got more questions. Go.
No, I haven't. Sorry, go on, Mo.
We love running, and for all of us, I said, I enjoy talking about running. I enjoy not always comparing people, but just educating people about running, about things that we can overcome, many things.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely spot on, mate. I want to finish on two very quick quiz questions. for Paula, but they're about you, Mo, and so you can tell her the answer. They're just bit of fun, right?
If I don't get them right, you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. They're gettable. They're definitely gettable. Okay. I will set this up with a quick story and this is one of my fondest stories of you, Mo, from when we were in Chile, in Santiago, Santiago. But we were went to America, Florida for a camp, World Juniors. You and I are on the team, and we just finished a session on the track. And as usual, you're just still giddy and all excited, and we're sat on the infield, and Goldie's doing her javelin, there's a few high jumpers, and people are doing their other events, doing their training, and you're just haven't burnt enough energy from the session. So then you just thought, right, Goldie, can I go and throw your javelin? Goldie Sayers, who went on to win Olympic medal, and Goldie was like, yeah, have a go if you want, and you just launched this thing out onto the field, and we all stood there and just went, what the heck was that? And then you thought it was her, started giggling, turned around, the high jump bar, I don't know what it was on, you turned around and went, ah, and then ran off, jumped over the high jump bar, and just cleared that by a mile. And we all just stood there going, this kid is not just fun, he is incredibly naturally all-rounded, had no fear of anything. And it's to this day, it was like one of those kind of infectious things that I always kind of enjoyed being around you, because you made things fun and you didn't put barriers in your way to anything. You just were willing to try, like you say, ask questions. And there are many stories, and I could go on and on. Some of them I can't air, but it was just a very fun time. But the reason that story sets up my question is, Paula, what is Mo Farah's Javelin PB?
Oh, come on. Well, before I do that, then I'll answer a quick question. So Raf did the same thing, and he's not the same as Mo. He's a bit more like his mum, where we're kind of good at one thing, maybe two things, and that's it. So he came back to me the other day. He goes, I did try the javelin. He goes, I thought I threw 17 metres. And I said, well, what did you throw? And they went, 10 metres, 17.
Listen, the technique's hard. It's not easy. Anyone that
so on that, I'm going to guess. So I'm guessing it's pretty good. If it's like
it's full weight,
Goldie's out
it's
there.
The full weight.
Full weight, Goldie's javelin. Goldie's.
I know, heavier than Goldie because.
Is it men's javelin?
No. This is. It wasn't. We didn't measure Mo's attempt out there.
Right,
proper. It was a proper measured, official, proper men's Olympic weighted javelin.
I'm going to go 47.5 meters.
Nah, can't be that high.
Oh, you can't remember, Mo?
Was it Superstars?
Yes, it was Superstars. Yes, that's where you did it.
Yeah. What did you say, Paula? God.
47.5.
Not that good.
No. What was it? What was it, Mo?
Was it 30? No, 32.
No, bit high. It was 35.55 meters, which with an Olympic javelin I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
And the second question, the same event in Superstars is in 2012. I'll give you one hint, Paul, if you don't get it. Mo ran the 100 meters with a variety of stars. The winner was Anthony Joshua. Mo was third. Right. Which fellow track and field Olympian finished second, beating Mo? And I give you one clue. I have one guess, and I give you one extra clue.
Oh my goodness! So Anthony Joshua won. I'm trying to even remember who was on it at the same time, and I'm coming up with a massive blank. We're going male or female. Am I allowed that clue?
Male. It was male.
No, it was male,
and it was a fellow 2012 Olympian. I'll give you an extra clue.
Going to go someone really random. Oh, go on.
Go on. Go. Make a guess, and I'll give you a clue.
I was going to go someone really random, like Robbie Grabarts.
Oh, look at that! Yes,
is that right?
Yes.
I was thinking Tony Brownie.
You didn't even know.
No, it was our Olympic medalist in the high jump, Robbie Grabarts, beat Mo. I apologise. I don't have the times. I didn't write the times down. But listen, you know I love you, Mo, but he destroyed you. He was a good gaff.
I genuinely thought you were going to ask me the time then.
No. It was Anthony Joshua won, Robbie Grabarts, but it was neck and neck with Robbie and Anthony Joshua, and then Mo was led the rest. And Brownie was in there, but you did beat him. Don't worry.
Okay.
No, so you won it you beat the triathletes, but it was.
To be fair, you needed about a 10,900 and something run up to get into it, didn't you, Mo?
Yeah, you just see Mo running 10 laps first and then does the race.
And then go into it, because you definitely would go quicker. No, honestly, brilliant. Thank you so much. We will be dropping this. Any quick tips you want to hand out just to people? A lot of people listening will be in their build up towards autumn marathon. We're doing like a build towards New York. So final tips to those marathon runners.
Look after yourself. Go out there, enjoy it. Don't make it complicated. Go and have fun with it. That's what it's about.
Top advice.
Couldn't have just said it any better, Mo. You're an absolute star, mate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mo, Sir Mo, for joining us there. I think that was a really, really interesting chat. And straight off the bat, I'm going to actually bung him onto the honours board for this week as well, Thommo, because he has spent the past 12 days or whatever really encouraging my son Raf as he's been joining in some of the sessions and giving him some tips about how to lengthen his stride, how to wind it up, and how most importantly, and I think that came across in the interview as well, just keep enjoying what you're doing. So big shout out to him for doing that and taking on a fair few quad bike rides and water slide adventures during the days as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's he's a kid at heart and I mean that in a really nice way. Mm-hmm. So he certainly knows how to bring energy to any scenario. But yeah, congratulations.
And competition. Have to add that as well. When we're doing a bit of bowling, there's a bit of competition comes in there. Doesn't like to lose, whatever it is.
No. The only thing, I mean, for me is we could have delved more and more into some of his backstories more and more in an episode, and I possibly would love to do another episode with him, because there's so much more to his journey and his achievements than the public would love to hear about. And I think we scratched the surface with some of the stuff. Yeah. So one to park up and think about in the future.
So we've got any more honours boards for this
honours
week?
Honours boards? Thommo? Yes, we do. Nicely said. Big shout out to Keely Hodgkinson, who I mean, what a way to reintroduce yourself to the track post Olympics last year. She's had a few injury niggles, and which comes with the territory of being as good of an athlete as she is, and she runs a world lead 154 75, just incredible run, and announces her kind of strong foothold into hopefully winning another gold medal this summer or autumn as in September. So massive shout out to her. I mean, there's so many athletes, but in particular obviously on this week that was a big one. Anyone from your Raf particularly? Because he did a big session, didn't he?
Oh, he did do. Yeah, but he's been on a few times, so I think he did do his biggest session ever, joining him with one of Gary's group sessions and helping out Hayden Wild at the kind of 2K end of it, where he was jumping in and out for 400. So had a lot of fun with that. His quads are still. He's learning the meaning of DOMS and how long that takes to recover from. But my shout out.
Does he know what it means?
Yes, delayed onset muscle soreness. Mum knows. Mum tells him.
There you go.
Mum explains things like that. He doesn't just think it's Dom from around the corner, jumping into his quads and making them sore. So my honours board one is from the other end of the spectrum. So because we forget just how young Keely actually is because of all of her accolades that are stacking up there. But at the other end, a lady called Grace Chambers, you may have seen in the news. She's 97 and she has become Europe's oldest park runner. She's from Belfast and she has reached the 250 milestone. So massive big shout out on the honours board to Grace Chambers.
I think she was 4 weeks post heart surgery as well. From what I read as well. Incredible. Like, just way to just get out there and keep doing it, inspiring everyone. What an incredible woman she is. But yeah, well done.
Final one for the honours board is also in the park run, but this time it comes from Sean B from Staffordshire, and it's her 9-year-old daughter Jess did her first ever junior park run, and she said to her before that it would be the best for them to start off steadily and if she could finish nice and strongly. Well, she stormed off and Sean couldn't keep up with her. She cut the corner to be able to see her finish. She had a great big smile on her face and she absolutely smashed it. So big shout out in addition to the honours board for 9-year-old Jess as well.
Congratulations. What a good honours board list this week.
Yeah.
Love it.
So that is, and just before we go, one more reminder that we do have that offer from NordVPN. We have the exclusive discount for you. You just need to head to nordvpn.com/Paula's Run Club and follow the link in the episode description below. If you want, you'll get a massive discount, those 4 months extra free. Protect your data. Watch all of those shows that we've been talking about. I'm not actually sure that you can go back as far as Race Across the World, but you may be able to find that that and find out what I'm talking about. And thank you for joining us this week. Do not forget, we've got the listener interaction weekly shakeout coming up later on this week. That will drop on Thursday. And one more reminder of the email, that is paula's@momentumbroadcast.co.uk. You can go to the WhatsApp number, which is +44 7564 747 914, and at Paula's Run Club on all of the socials. Follow us, like and subscribe on YouTube as well. So don't forget, we will see you next time Monday for the main podcast, but there is of course the weekly shakeout every Thursday where we'll get to all of your listener interaction questions. Thank you for sending those in. This has been a Momentum Broadcast production. Thank you very much for being a part of our Run Club, and we will see you next time.
See you soon.